Hey everybody, it's time for the next update on Project Warspite, and yes, I know I changed YouTube channels on you, but I'm trying to get something a little bit better set up. Anyway, this is the latest update on my efforts to turn Federation and Empire into a computer game. I know it's been a little while since the last update, but there's been a bunch of changes. Really spent a lot of time focusing in on carriers and fighters and all the fun that comes with that. So we've got pretty much all the rules related to those implemented now. So I obviously did the basics of adding fighters and carriers into the system. You can now build carriers, and the system is aware of the free fighter factors that each empire gets. Also handles all the automatic replacement steps that take place during shipyards and retrogrades. I put some nice visuals on there, so there's tooltips for the fighters, as well as also being able to make it clear which carriers are not currently at their full complement of fighters. And then, obviously a lot of the things that are related to this all have to do with combat. So fighters are now able to react independent of their carriers, and independent fighters can be part of the battle force. Of course, the fact that fighters are there, whether they're operating as on a carrier or independently, or part of the full combat potential and all the damage calculations. And then of course had to handle all the special fun rules that come along with carrier groups, and being able to handle the group damage system. So with all of that being said, let's actually take a look at it in the game. So here I'm logged in. I've got two different logins. This is playing as the Coalition and the top monitor there, and in the bottom one we're playing as the Alliance. So I'm going to skip through some of the steps here. I've got a hotkey that lets me kind of skip through it. Let's skip forward to actually over to the construction step. So when, like I said, when you're actually doing building, mothballs here. You do have the ability to create carriers. So if I pop this up and make it full screen for the Coalition, you can see here how many free fighter factors that particular empire gets. When I'm doing a build, now here, for example, if I want to substitute one of my F5s here, and you can see the little tooltips for ships are still there. My F5, I want to build an F5V instead. I can choose to build that. You can see it did decrement the free fighters, so now I'm only able to get 2 free fighters. If I do it again, I can see that second carrier cost me more EPs, because obviously it didn't have enough free fighters to support that. So that is the building of them. Let's go ahead and get into movement and combat. So let's just zoom this out a little bit here. Get our Alliance screen right. Oops. Oh. Didn't mean to resize it quite like that. That was fun. So you can kind of see everything that's going on here, both on the Alliance side and the Coalition side at the same time. So if I grab this group of units, form a stack here, and we're going to go ahead and move into Hydrogen space. As I get popping in there, it's going to do what it did before. It's going to ask the Alliance player if they want to react to that movement. You can see here that some ships going to, but it's letting me react in the fighters that could come from one of the battle stations. And like I mentioned earlier, we do have the tooltips here, so you can scroll over and you can see. I'm going to say actually no, I don't want to react right now. The Coalition moves forward another space, and now I do actually want to react. So I'm going to say yep. And we're going to go ahead and bring in all of these guys. And one thing to point out, right now this UH, you'll note it's got its 2 on here. It's because 6 of its factors, could actually react separately from it if you want to. So we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and just bring in the whole carrier, plus all the fighters from these battle stations and star bases around. So yep, react all those guys in there. They all react in, and now as you can kind of see, I'm getting that overload there that's showing me that the battle station doesn't have fighters anymore. It looks like there might be a little glitch. I can see the 0 but not the red on that one, so I'll have to figure out what's going on with that a little bit later. The wonderful fun of live demos. And we'll go ahead and say that we're done with movement here. And let's get into the actual combat. we're not going to withdraw because we want to actually do this. So, as I said here earlier, you've got the carrier groups. So here it's telling me that, you know, to form escorts for this particular carrier group, I'm required to bring in 2, and I can bring in a 3rd if I want. So I can kind of drag in and drop in the carriers that I want. We'll do that for that guy, and then on over here I actually have some real escorts that are available. So we'll put 2 real escorts on that guy and 1 here. Now, if I do say that, you know, I'm ready and I want to move forward, it's going to warn me that, you know, not all of the carriers have them. Do I want to go anyway? Because obviously this guy's still going to count as a whole in the battle force if I use him, which I can see here on the battle force determination side now. So if I actually say I want to put this guy on the battle line, it's going to use up one of my spots because I didn't put an escort in there, just like the rules require. So, but let's do this. Let's put this carrier group actually on the battle line. We'll say these other 2, we're actually just going to put them in the support side. So now I can see they don't have any more fighters on them because their fighters are actually now operating independently in the battle force. Go ahead and put the rest of our ships in here. And boom, we're ready. And over on the hydrant side, we'll do the same thing. Go ahead and get them on the battle line. We'll put in some of these independent fighters, and now if you exceed the amount of fighters that are allowed independently, it's going to block them out, so I can't select the other ones. Now I'm ready to roll through combat, which works more or less the way it did before. So we'll just go ahead and roll for our... Oh, nice. We got a nice total 10 there. So boom, we'll roll and see what we get. 19 damage points, 32 damage points. Great. That's exactly what I was kind of hoping for. Probably should have forced those die rolls to go the way I wanted them to. But now, the Klingons have done 32 points of damage. So I'm going to actually do directed damage here so that we can see how the GED system works. I can still choose a target, or I can say I want to target this whole carrier group. Now, if I target the whole carrier group, I've got an option here, since these are ad hoc escorts. They're not protected. You know, the innermost escort is not protected by the outermost escort, so I can actually target any of them I want. I'm not getting the bonuses for them being exports. I don't have enough to actually get the whole group, and I do still have to get through the escorts before I can get to the carriers. The carrier's not an option. But so yep, I want to go ahead and destroy that guy. If I look at it from the hydrants perspective, let's say, yeah, I want to go ahead and do directed damage. I pick this guy. Now here, I can't hit the 85 because these are actual escorts, so I have to hit the outermost one. I'll go ahead and say the same thing. I want to go ahead and destroy that guy. And then now, normal damage allocation proceeds. Now, one thing you can do, that you can do before I make this a little bit bigger, is, you know, on this carrier here, I can say, all right, well, do I want to damage the carrier itself, or do I want to kill some of its fighters? So, yeah, I want to kill some fighters. Here, we'll kill off those fighters, and if I want, I can go ahead and kill his 1 fighter factor. Obviously, still has half a factor on there, and then we'll go ahead and kill 1 more. On my main, or not my main, on the Klingon side here, let's just go ahead and we'll kill off some of the fighters on the carrier on the battle line. So now I've got, you know, my updated status here, so I can see what fighters are actually available, where I'm at. It's asking me if I want to retreat or not. I'm going to say no. We're not going to retreat. And now we are, you know, right back to where we were. But one of the things that you can do between combat rounds now is actually transfer fighters. So actually, I'm going to take, you know, the fighters off of this guy here and move them onto the DSV. So now I can put these guys back on the battle line with a little bit more fighters. Of course, obviously one of the spots is still taken because that was a minimum requirements of escorts for that guy. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to run through another round of combat, but, you know, because basically it works the same as you know, the previous rounds. For continue to go through the same thing here. You know, if I wanted to transfer fighters, you know, we don't want to make that guy whole for whatever reason. I do have the option to do that. So yeah, I think that. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and get through the whole combat round. Just skirt me, so that we can see about replenishing fighters. This time we won't do directed damage. And so, you know, now I'm on my own here to go ahead and kill things off. Burn through all our fighter factors there. We'll take a couple cripples. Same thing over here. We'll kill off all our fighters. This time, the Klingons are going to go ahead and retreat. Choose there. They're not going to retreat. And, you know, just as before, now sometimes these tooltips stay up. We've got to figure that out. But you can see, anyway, the overall status. I can see, you know, how many factors were actually killed, and then the overall economic impacts based on what actually took place. So if I take a look here now on the main map, as we move into the retrograde phase, I can see that, you know, these battle stations no longer have any fighters. The starbase retained its. I look at this, I can see, you know, some of the fighters that were lost. But let's just, you wouldn't actually do this in real life, but just so you can kind of see how things work here during the end of the retrograde phase, when everybody gets their fighters back. So we have a better view. Say fine, I want to end movement, and then everybody got resupplied with replacement fighters. So yeah, that covers everything that I wanted to show today. Next, I'm going to be moving on to getting proper fleet setups, as well as upgrading Unity versions. So thanks a lot.